Welcome to AZPM News Daily, a wrap-up of all the day's news from Arizona Public Media. I'm Steve Jess, and on this Thursday, migrant deaths in the desert continue.
Such as 21-year-old Jorge Amaya Figueroa, who died of environmental exposure in Pima County in May.
A voucher-limiting measure is closer to being on the ballot.
We know that we have the cushion we need to be successful.
But another one to protect early voting runs out of gas.
What we needed was a more robust paid program to get us over the top.
That's ahead on this Thursday, July 2nd. Headlining our news today, a Tucson nonprofit that maps migrant deaths in the Arizona desert has logged dozens of new deaths in the first 6 months of 2026. Angela Gervasi has more.
Unauthorized border crossings have dramatically declined in the second Trump administration. Even so, migrants who do make the journey are continuing to die in the Arizona desert. That's according to Humane Borders, a humanitarian aid group that maps migrant deaths across the state. During the first half of 2026, it added 41 new deaths to its database, such as 21-year-old Jorge Amaya Figueroa, who died of environmental exposure in Pima County in May. This week, the Supreme Court upheld the Trump administration's efforts to turn asylum seekers away from ports of entry. Humane Borders Executive Director Octavio Fuentes says that decision will continue to push migrants into remote areas of the desert, leading to more deaths. Angela Gervasi, AZPM News.
Public school advocates submitted hundreds of thousands of signatures today in support of a campaign to rein in Arizona's voucher program. Noor Hagigi reports.
The measure, called the Protect Education Act, would prohibit funds from rolling over year after year in empowerment scholarship accounts. Advocate Beth Lewis predicted Thursday that the measure would get on the ballot.
We know that we have the cushion we need to be successful, despite the fact that we will probably have significant court challenges from special interests who have deep pockets.
Over 420,000 Arizonans signed petitions for the campaign to qualify the voucher reforms proposal for the November ballot, leaving voters to decide in the midterm election. The initiative has been met with fierce opposition from politicians and organizations who support the Universal ESA program. Noor Hagigi, AZPM News.
Campaigners are abandoning their ballot initiative that aims to enshrine the right to early voting in the state constitution. Despite getting 60,000 more signatures than the minimum, the Protect the Vote Arizona campaign said there was a high likelihood that enough of those signatures would be tossed to disqualify the measure. Stacy Pearson is with Lumen Strategies, which handled the initiative.
What we needed was a more robust paid program to get us over the top. I mean, the volunteers can sincerely only get so far, and it particularly when it starts to heat up, like asking people to stand outside when it's 110.
Pearson says the campaign will now use the money it's raised to challenge another ballot initiative passed by the legislature that would require voters to show their identification at the polls. The Trump administration announced this week it was not ready to renew the trade pact among the United States, Mexico, and Canada. The USMCA, the trade deal the first Trump administration signed to replace NAFTA, stays in effect for now but goes into a period of likely prolonged negotiations. Mexico's economy minister Marcelo Ebrard said Wednesday that Mexico plans to use the talks to try to reduce or eliminate Trump administration tariffs on certain Mexican goods, including steel and aluminum. U.S. Trade Representative Jamieson Greer says his office wants to address shortcomings with the treaty, along with trade deficits with Mexico and Canada. The Arizona Game and Fish Department has a request this holiday weekend. Mind your fishing lines. A young bald eagle nearly died near Willow Springs Lake last month after a fishing hook and line became lodged in its throat. Following surgery that removed most of the hook, the bird should make a full recovery, but game and fish biologists say they frequently find fishing wires and hooks in eagles' nests across the state. John Leos is with Game and Fish.
In Arizona, bald eagles' dependence on water kind of restricts them to areas that are also favored by people, like lakes.
The department is encouraging anyone who visits the state's lakes to dispose of any fishing lines or waste into trash or recycling bins. rather than in the water. The U.S. Treasury Department is sanctioning more people and businesses suspected of trying to smuggle crude oil for a Mexican drug cartel. Nina Kravinsky has that story.
Treasury's Office of Foreign Assets Control says the newly sanctioned individuals and businesses are associated with the Jalisco New Generation cartel and are involved in the criminal organization's crude oil theft operations. The cartel is accused of stealing crude oil from Mexico's state oil company and smuggling it over the border, where it's then allegedly delivered to complicit U.S. importers and sold on U.S. and global energy markets. Fuel smuggling has become one way Mexico's cartels have diversified their revenue streams apart from drug sales. The Trump administration designated the Jalisco New Generation cartel as a foreign terrorist organization last year.
And now you're caught up on the stories we've covered today at Arizona Public Media. Thanks for listening. Subscribe to AZPM News Daily wherever you get your podcasts. I'm Steve Jess, and we'll be back tomorrow.